Well, there's a lot of news this week on Binance. Yesterday, Binance's CEO, CZ, went into federal court in Seattle and pled guilty to anti-money laundering charges. So we're looking at the Binance chart right now, BNB's token, and you can see way back here on July 15th that it was at 255. And we ran up to that recently, this month, 255. But if you look here, okay, this was yesterday. This is a daily chart. And yesterday it just dropped, okay, all the way down to 225. It opened the next day at that number, but it's run up back up to 230. And today it's starting to go back down again. Looking at this and looking at the news at DeFi-Logic, we've been tracking this all the way back to in September. And it's ran a channel here between 217 and 206, and then it popped on a lot of crypto news. It ran up with the high tide of crypto news, but now we're looking at a situation where Binance as a company has to pay 4.3 billion in fines to the US. Technically looking at the 217 level here, okay, 217 was resistance, but now it's going to be a support line, or if it breaks through the support line, the next stop is 206. I've had this since September, as these are the levels. So if it breaks 217 down to 206, that is the second bearish target. And if it goes below 206, then basically BNB is done. That has been the line in the sand right here, also back in the middle of September, and also over here. So we've had that line in the sand at 206 and September 11th, and then into September it's tagged it, and then first part of October dipped below and then ran back up. Below 206, then pretty much BNB is done.
GM friends, and thanks for tuning in to DeFi-Logic's TA Tuesday at 12 p.m. Mountain Time. Server members enjoy weekly community calls, request chart reviews, and join in live discussions in our server. The link is in the video description below. For today's call, we will review charts for Solana, BONK, Celestia, Injective, Shia Inu, BitTensor, and for legacy markets, S&P 500, Dow Jones, NASDAQ, dollar index, US 10-year bonds, and oil. With that, over to Eddie.
What's up, everyone? I'm just going to get straight to business. Market's been nice and volatile, so hopefully that continues on because that's how we make money, with volatility. So I've been starting off with Bitcoin just because I like to look at Bitcoin first. Been looking for this opportunity to happen. We got a decent dip on Tuesday, and it held up pretty well to this area. We still have yet to see these lows right here get swept, which I know it's interesting, but then at the same time, it also makes me think ETF is probably getting approved soon because this is just a lot of heavy buying and people aren't letting it fall down. So we'll see what happens today. There was like a bunch of FUD and stuff and caused this dip, which was really nice. So right now on like a lower time frame, I really want to see this hold. Actually, you can see that a bunch of people, these like volume bars indicate that there was a lot of selling pressure into the lows. So I did enter a position right around here and I covered a lot of it and I'm break even. So hopefully it can start flipping these levels right here and go up. That'd be nice. So if it can start closing up above here, if you want Bitcoin exposure and you're not in, that'd be a nice spot to get into it, I think. So one of those whole things, right? Where we take out the high, we tap it, and you can target towards 40K. And then if not, we're still obviously watching these lows to get swept, but it seems like, who knows, it may or may not happen. You just have to react as the market gives you. So moving on to Ethereum, been watching for that Ethereum to Bitcoin ratio to get bullish, and it's just like taking forever. Same idea though. Last week we had a pretty decent dip, and then it started to reclaim over the weekend. So it's actually a pretty good buying opportunity on Ethereum if you weren't in, and then it retested today too. So it's starting, even though it looks like crap, it's showing bullish action. So same thing, if you're not in, I got in like around when it started reclaiming around here. I think my entry is like 19 lower. How did I get enter? I don't know. I'm around this deviation area, and if you're not in right now, you can still go because it was the same thing where we had a pretty decent little dip, and then I'm gonna clear this chart a little bit since I'm talking low time frame right now. So if you go back down to that same price action we saw a little bit ago, bunch of selling, and it started to get it got bought up pretty quickly. So same idea. If it can flip this level and you're not in Ethereum and you want to be in, I think that's a pretty decent spot to get some exposure. And you're just using today's low as your invalidation. And then I think 24K is a nice, pretty big area. Let me just double check that I'm not giving a ridiculous target really quick. Assuming we also flip this area too, that's like more of a higher time frame trigger. If some closes up above 2060 would look really nice. And then we're targeting, you'd probably just look to take profit somewhere into this little supply zone. So anywhere from 22.2 to 23.4. So we'll see if that was what we needed, little tiny flush, and if we can go. If not, obviously everybody knows that there's a chance of a big correction. Okay, moving on. So we always take requests in the server, and we're going to be looking at Xi, which is CNET. It's actually looking quite nice. Let's get this a bigger screen. Had a good run from when we started turning bullish. If you look at the lows, it peaked at 150%. It's not bad at all. Obviously, last time I was looking at it was up here and it did not hold. Okay, so if you're not in and you want to get in, I think if you can retest this level, that'd be a really nice opportunity to buy. I swear I made favorites on this last week and they all disappeared anyway. They're there, it's visible to me. If you can get into this little SR level here, I think that'd be a really nice spot to load up on. And same idea, just look for your resistance levels to take profit at, somewhere up there. If it's having strength, you just keep looking at new highs. It's looking decent. Look, and there's actually buyers showing up today too. Maybe news coming for them. I don't know. Looks good though. Next one I wanted to look at really quick was another request. How? I believe that this is I wanted to get this one first because if I'm not mistaken, it's an AI coin. And AI and NV stock has earnings at 5 Eastern time. And they're probably pretty bullish earnings. And you can see a lot of people are anticipating that because AI coins got bid up really heavily on today's dip. And I actually bought some Tau as well, but my entry sucks. It's like right here. So it's looking really nice. If it can dip down into this little demand zone, I'm going to add any more touches into that, with today's low just being the invalidation. It's a spot play for me, and I'll probably just take some off once we run the highs. I'm doing all low time frame action because like the past few weeks it's been that way. Unless there's a chart that has more data, I really have no idea what to tell you to aim for. Does anyone know if there's something that has better data?
Nah, not that I'm aware of.
XC is always really quick at launching shit coins, which is why I went to them. But yeah, super nice reaction today. It's looking good. That's the plan. If it can dip lower, buy some more, or you can even just buy spot right now because NVDA's earnings should be really good today. So this should see another spike, hopefully. That's what I'm planning for at least. Same thing with RNDR, but we have too much to get through. I don't want to go over that one, but it's the same idea. So I want to look at Sol. So I was also thinking Sol is going to be over the next year, I imagine. But I shorted it the other day and then took some profit as things got bullish again. So this plan is, I don't really like it anymore. I'm not in that trade anymore either. It's holding up quite nicely. This is a huge zone, but it is technically like a demand zone. So you have to respect it like that with invalidations of it losing this area. But it's looking really nice. I actually might buy some right now. Looks good. Sorry, my mind's running a mile a minute because of this morning's price action. I haven't calmed down from it yet. Okay. Anyways, though. So Sol, as long as it can hold above 50.5, it's got room for upside. And I think you'll have to look to cover some into this area and then just keep trailing your stop loss as we attack new highs. I do expect some sort of other dip to happen though, a big one. I feel like I've talked about that for forever, like the possibility of one, and I think it will happen. It should have a huge cycle. Everybody I talk to is bullish on Sol. So like, do you want to be right or do you want to be rich type of thing, right? So I think you need to load up heavy if we see $27 or lower again. Speaking with that, just to kind of confirm, like, it's been turning into Solana Maxi. So I always look at Ethereum to BTC, but I want to look at, just point out Sol to Ethereum really quick. You can see again, like, this is the reason why I'm not really going to be holding any Ethereum, I think, on the next big market move. It just doesn't make sense to them. Solana is going to clearly outperform it. unless something crazy happens and Ethereum starts to, like, obviously Ethereum will have periods of outperformance, like when this is dipping, but this is such a bullish chart. The dips are for buying on Sol, because that's going to it's going to trend upwards, right? So it's really good. Same idea though. It's got this huge SR level. If it can get down to it, like, that's really good. And then also too, for now, same idea as the USD chart. If it can hold this low, I'm looking at weekly. It's not as clean here, but you guys get the point. Okay, BONK. So looking at BONK, I've been playing it a lot just because, like, again, this is a coin that you want to be paying attention to, right? The market is going to tell you what it likes. If for whatever reason the market likes BONK, we'll have to see how ETH performs once dark sharding goes live. Yeah, I agree. There can be a time where I think Ethereum is still going to be a good play for sure. I think $10,000 Ethereum is definitely a good target. But what is that? From here, a 5x. And from here, Solana, a 5x is what? 250? Below its all-time high? Anyways, going back to this. So, BONK, same thing happened today. Nice low, swept. So you can enter in right here for a low time frame play, but today's low being your invalidation. And for me, honestly, I'm aiming for price discovery on it. If it happens, great. If it doesn't, that's fine. We'll just buy lower. And then as far as lower targets go, I think if we get a market-wide nuke, I don't see this dipping too hard, like maybe into this little cluster zone again. I think if we can get to the 222 level, that'd be really... Okay, TIA. So I'm showing all the coins that... I'm showing my playbook, sorry. But this is all the stuff that I... Like, to me, the market is telling me that we like these coins, right? It's like performing so much better than everybody else. Yeah, BONK has so many great memes too. That's another reason why it's going to do so well. And you can see by looking at the chart, like, it just does great. The BONK army grows every single day. And you want to get involved or you're going to get left out. So same thing here. Like today, the price action was just the same across the board. We had FUD, which gave a dip, and then it turned into like a nothing. So I'm just basically using the lows. I don't even remember why this one is such a lower low. I don't know what's going on with this. I'm going to just delete that. I don't remember it. So, but this is shaping up nicely. So what we have is fair value gap, and we're going to get a daily close, possibly as an SFP. So this just is looking really good. I think, like, for anybody watching, if you haven't bought in today's dip, I think it's smart to put at least some into it. Obviously, we can go lower, but I really like what I'm seeing right now. And then as far as like a lower time frame entry, if we start to get hourly closes above here, that's another good entry too, with the stop being today's low. And same idea, I'm aiming for price discovery on all these coins. But you have to obviously take profit where you need to as well. So somewhere around there, and probably somewhere around here too. I don't think we'll get a market-wide nuke soon, like within the next couple days, but if we do, this is another coin you want to pay attention to. And I think if it can sweep these lows right here, if it can sweep them and reclaim them, buy right there with your stop being whatever low it takes. That'll be a nice, really high time frame, higher low too. So that's the higher time frame plan for that. And then same thing with INJ. It's not looking as good today as some of those other ones were, but same idea. It's holding support, or the box and stuff. It's holding support, really good demand. If it can keep above today's low, I think you can aim for higher prices. Oh my gosh, what is that? Whatever. And then if we get a market-wide nuke, I don't know how low this thing's gonna go. There's a lot of eyes on this. Like maybe some reaction there, or maybe some reaction in here. If it can get below this low at 11, 10, like just buy as much as you can, because I really don't see a world where this is trading much for long below this. Maybe a day at max. But that's looking really good too. And same thing with TIA and INJ. They basically don't have any unlocks going into 2024. So they're like really good coins to be paying attention to. I think that's all of mine. Sol, BONK, TIA, INJ, Sol. Yeah. Okay. I got to that really quick, hopefully. So that's what we're looking at.
Cool beans. Thanks, Eddie. And yeah, we might get some cool market nuke today, because coming out that CZ is going to step down from Binance apparently, and he's pleading guilty to 4 charges and going to pay $4.3 billion in fines. So if you're paying attention to DeFi-Logic, myself and G-Force, we've been talking about that for months for any viewers, and crypto Twitter they're shocked. I don't understand how they were shocked if you read the docs. But hey, that's what it is. So BNB to 0. All right, let me bring up John. And over to legacy markets, John.
Thanks, Pepe. Yeah, he and I talked about this at length, and we know how the federal government works. Basically, it's just a shakedown, and they use their weight of the whole United States economy and their demands. So anyway, move on to legacy markets. It wasn't a shock. Those things are going to happen. We're going to start off, as we always do, with the S&P 500, and the charts are always a daily chart for me. I consider that the king of charts, so I won't bore you guys with all the... I feel they don't have as much weight as a daily chart does. So we're going to look at that here in a minute. So the S&P 500, it's been going up significantly, and we're looking at the upper bands, how everything's working. So at the moment, you'll see that we're trading right now just above 45.30 at this point here. So we will continue to climb higher. I'm looking at the climbs here to basically, we started at this point and we're constantly going up, okay? So Monday, we had a great day, which was yesterday. It popped above that 45.30, okay? So which was this point here, okay? That was the most recent high over here back on September 1st. So we looked at that. Now we're looking at climbing even higher, okay? As you'll notice, this is also climbing up the 2x upper band, okay? So my target here is all the way to 46, around the 4,600 level, because that's basically a key psychological level, and it started all the way back here. It's not something to pull out of the air. This is all the way back here on July 27th, and that's at 4,600, and then you saw how it dipped back down. So we're going to head, I believe, have a little bit of a Christmas rally. Thanksgiving is this week, Christmas is coming up. Another thing, over 30 years of looking at this, looking at the markets, is that the last 2 years, if you look at 2021 and 22, the big brokers have not gotten that good of a market return, okay? Obviously, it's time for them to make some money, and they need to make some money. So this year, they're going to push things at the end of the year higher, so they can make some money at the end of this year, and then, okay, all the trouble will push it off to 2024, which is next year, with the elections and things of that nature. That actually does happen. So I'm looking at that as another catalyst to push it forward to 4,600. Moving now to the NASDAQ. Right here, it's floating around 15. Okay, that was a level that was all the way back here, similar to the S&P back in July. Okay, so we're floating around those levels. If you saw in the news that Sam Altman basically is going back and forth between OpenAI and Microsoft. Looks like he's got a job from Microsoft if he wants to quit. That is creating a little bit of a stir in the technical markets, and also with, obviously, with AI and everything else. So if you haven't been following, the markets is everything on the tech side is AI is everything, just like the .com was way back in 2000. So we're looking at this level here, it's 15,888. Okay, it's going to float around here, but I think it is going to keep marching up and keep climbing up this 2x upper band. Okay, moving on to the Dow Jones 30. It's also doing the same thing. So you'll see that all these markets are going in sync. Okay, so they're just climbing up the 2x band. Again, I feel that the end of the year is going to be good because nobody knows what next year is going to hold with the election coming up. This election is going to be a doozy, to put it mildly, on that. Okay, on to the dollar index, DXY. Okay, this is really showing uncertainty. Okay, uncertainty for next year with the elections again. So you'll see this whole month of November, we have three major lows. A low here on the first part of November 3rd, low here middle of November, and we're hitting now another third low. Okay, total opposite of what we had with the BRICS announcements, that nothing has materialized so far on that. Back in August, you'll see we had August high, we had September high, and we just keep going up. Okay, now it's time to retreat. Okay, If you also follow economic news, we've had Finch downgraded the US dollar way back over here. And now you have Moody's that hasn't downgraded the US bonds. They haven't downgraded, but they put the US on a watch list, basically a warning list. So ever since then, you see the dollars have been going down. Finch is not as big as a rating firm as Moody's. So even though it had an effect way up here, Moody's is having more of an effect as well. So now you have two rating firms that are downgrading or putting on warning the US bonds. So moving on to the US bond, we'll go to the US 10-year yield. Okay, so this is the yield. This is not the bond price, but it's the yield. Okay, so you want to know why the markets are going up is because this yield is going down on the 10-year. There's an inverse correlation between the two. So inverse correlation means opposite reaction. So if the markets go up, this 10-year yield goes down. That's why I put this chart up. If the markets are going down because this 10-year is going up, like we had in October, you see how in October, actually into September right here, then October we had like a double peak, came back here on October 19th. So that's why the market, typical legendary Black October or Black Monday, which happened in October. Okay, so I'm looking at the technical side. So I thought maybe this was a double bottom. This was a first bottom here back in October, and then another bottom here in November. But you see how the price action did not go up. Okay, it didn't even go up to the standard deviation line. We thought, and when I saw this, another bottom, that I know, double bottom, no. So those are my notes just to make sure I can stay on track. And you'll see it's just going to go down the 2x lower band. And that's what's been going on. So last but not least, we're going to go to oil. Now, oil I don't really trade. And the only reason why I'm bringing oil up is because this is technical analysis, technically Tuesday. So just showing technical analysis on this. So you'll see oil, how it hit extreme right here, hit the 3x band right here back in October. Then it's come up, came back, hit right at the 2x band, and then it went up to the standard deviation line. Okay, but what is the standard deviation line doing? It's going down. Okay, so even though it cleared the standard deviation line, the standard deviation line was still pointing down, and then so it's just trailed down until it hit the 2x lower band again. 2x lower band popped up. Okay, now did it pop up as high as the standard deviation line? No. So we know it's going to tank back down. You see, this day is a critical day. Even with, see this wick, it's a wick day, it goes up, and then we're going down. Okay, sure enough, next day clears the 2x band, goes down, stays down low again, almost hits the 3x band. The 3x band is an extreme oversold position. Okay, so it hardly ever reaches that point. I mean, it did way back here in October, on October 4th and 5th, but it hardly ever happens. It's like other legacy markets, like the S&P 500 or the Dow Jones, major market cap markets that hitting that 3x lower band or upper band is pretty extreme. It never really does it. It usually floats around the midpoint. Usually, like right here, we have a low, and that low is right around the midpoint between the 2x band and the 3x band. So what it did is that it pulled back up. Okay, did it go up and hit that standard deviation line? No. So it's pulled back down. Again, where did it pull back down to? To the 2x line. Okay, now it's coming back up. But we see at this point, this 2x lower band and this 3x lower band is starting to go sideways. So it could actually start to trade sideways. It might not. It might go get to that standard deviation line again, but I don't think so because the holidays are coming up. And again, the legacy markets like the S&P 500, the Dow Jones, the big brokers, the big banks, they need a good year. The last 2 years wasn't that good. So I think we're going to have a Christmas rally. Okay, that's it for me in legacy markets. Over to you, Pepe.
Thank you, GeForce, and thank you, Eddie, for putting us on to what's going on in the markets today. That is it for this week. As a DeFi-Logic server member, You can request chart reviews and discuss markets daily with other server members, and you can even annoy Eddie and GeForce and ping them and ask them what they think about the charts. And if you're interested in our trading view indicator strategies, you can test out the ETH and XRP, more long-term strategies, and then we have a Bitcoin scalp strategy that's absolutely killing it. So if you join now, you can enjoy free server access for life, future discounts on additional products and services. We will see you next Tuesday at 12 p.m. Mountain Time. GN friends.
Join us next week in Discord for TA Tuesday at DeFi-Logic.com.